Once hailed as Hollywood's golden boy, Kevin Costner was unstoppable in the late 80s and 90s. He was the kind of star who seemed to have it all: good looks, undeniable charisma, and a magnetic screen presence that drew audiences in droves. When Costner walked onto a set, it was as if the entire industry paused to watch what he would do next. His rise to fame was meteoric, and for a while, it felt like there was no limit to what he could achieve. He was the face of a new era in Hollywood, a symbol of the American dream realized on the silver screen. But today, he's no longer the box office king. The world that once celebrated his every move now seems to have moved on, leaving Costner in the shadows of a new generation of stars. The theaters that once echoed with applause for his performances now sit empty when his name is on the marquee. The industry that once courted him relentlessly now barely takes notice. What happened to Kevin Costner? How did a man who once stood at the very top of Hollywood's mountain find himself nearly forgotten by the very industry he helped define? Let's find out as we take a closer look at the rise, fall, and surprising reinvention of one of Hollywood's most fascinating figures. Kevin Costner wasn't just acting, he was conquering Hollywood. Every role he took on seemed to turn to gold, and his name became synonymous with blockbuster success. He was more than just a leading man. He was a force of nature, a creative powerhouse who could carry a film on his shoulders and make it soar. Directors wanted to work with him, studios wanted to sign him, and audiences couldn't get enough. He starred in iconic films that defined a generation. Movies like The Untouchables, Field of Dreams, and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves weren't just hits. They became cultural touchstones, the kind of films people remember decades later. Costner's performances were heartfelt, earnest, and larger than life, capturing the imagination of millions. He had a knack for choosing roles that resonated with audiences, and his films often explored themes of heroism, justice, and the American spirit. By the early 90s, he had it all: fame, awards, and box office hits like Dances with Wolves, which won him 2 Oscars. That film wasn't just a personal triumph, it was a cinematic milestone. Costner directed, produced, and starred in the epic western, defying the odds and the skeptics who said it would never succeed. The film swept the Academy Awards, earning 7 Oscars in total, including Best Picture and Best Director for Costner himself. It was a moment of pure Hollywood magic, the kind of achievement that cements a legacy. But here's the twist: Kevin's ambition sometimes got the better of him. With every success, his appetite for creative control grew. He wasn't content to just act, he wanted to shape every aspect of his films, from the script to the final cut. This drive made him a visionary, but it also made him a risk-taker, willing to gamble everything on projects that others might have walked away from. He wasn't just acting, he wanted to direct, produce, and star in huge epics. Costner dreamed big, and he wasn't afraid to put his reputation, and sometimes his own money, on the line to make those dreams a reality. He believed in the power of storytelling, in the magic of cinema, and he wanted to create films that would stand the test of time. But in Hollywood, ambition is a double-edged sword, and while ambition is great, sometimes it comes with a price. The bigger the dream, the bigger the risk, and in Costner's case, the stakes were sky-high. Hollywood is a place where fortunes can change overnight, and even the brightest stars can fall from grace if they push too far, too fast. Waterworld, The Postman, these weren't just flops, they were ambitious, sprawling projects that demanded everything from their cast and crew. Waterworld, in particular, was plagued by production problems, budget overruns, and a media circus that seemed to delight in predicting its failure. The film's post-apocalyptic setting required massive sets, elaborate stunts, and groundbreaking special effects, all of which pushed the budget to unprecedented heights. They were Hollywood cautionary tales, the kind of stories that executives whisper about in boardrooms, warning young filmmakers not to let their ambition outpace their common sense. The press had a field day, and Costner's reputation as a sure thing began to unravel. Suddenly, he was no longer the golden boy. He was the guy who took too many risks and paid the price. Waterworld cost over $175 million to make, an insane sum in the 90s. It was the most expensive movie ever made at the time, and every dollar spent became a headline. The production was beset by storms, accidents, and endless delays. The media dubbed it Fishtar, a play on the infamous flop Ishtar, and the pressure on Costner was immense. He was fighting not just for his film, but for his career. Critics hated it, audiences were confused, and the losses were epic. The Postman? Even worse. That film, a post-apocalyptic drama with Costner as a reluctant hero, was panned for its length, its earnestness, and its heavy-handed message. It became a punchline, a symbol of Hollywood excess and hubris. The backlash was swift and brutal, and Costner's star power took a major hit. These flops started changing Kevin's Hollywood reputation from a hero to risky business. Hollywood moves fast. One day you're on top of the world, the next you're yesterday's news. The industry that once celebrated Costner's every move now saw him as a liability, a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition. While Kevin was stuck in his cowboy hero image, a new generation of actors was rising. The 90s and early 2000s saw the emergence of fresh faces, actors who were more adaptable, more in tune with the changing tastes of audiences. These new stars brought a different energy to Hollywood, one that was less about old-school heroics and more about complexity, vulnerability, and authenticity. Young, fresh, and adaptable stars started dominating the box office. Audiences wanted something new, and Hollywood was more than happy to oblige. The era of the traditional leading man was fading, replaced by actors who could play a wider range of roles and connect with younger viewers. Costner, with his classic good looks and old-school charm, suddenly seemed out of step with the times. Suddenly, Kevin's larger-than-life persona felt outdated. But here's the thing about Costner. He never gave up. Even as the roles dried up and the offers slowed, he kept working, kept searching for new ways to connect with audiences. He took on smaller projects, independent films, and even tried his hand at music. He refused to let Hollywood define his worth. He reinvented himself with TV hits like Yellowstone, reminding audiences that he still has star power. The show became a massive success, introducing Costner to a whole new generation of fans. As John Dutton, the tough principled patriarch of a Montana ranching family, Costner found a role that played to his strengths while allowing him to explore new depths as an actor. Yellowstone proved that Costner's talent hadn't faded, it had simply evolved. But the Hollywood machine? That ship had sailed. The industry had changed, and the days when a single star could guarantee a film's success were over. Studios now bet on franchises, superheroes, and global appeal, not on the old-school charisma of a lone leading man. Costner's era had ended, and he knew it. The studio era he once ruled had changed, and his name no longer guarantees a box office hit. The rules of the game were different now, and Costner had to find new ways to stay relevant. He focused on projects that mattered to him, stories he believed in, rather than chasing the next big blockbuster. In doing so, he found a new kind of success, one that wasn't measured in ticket sales, but in personal fulfillment and creative satisfaction. Kevin Costner may have lost Hollywood's spotlight, but his legacy, untouchable. He's a reminder that true greatness isn't just about staying on top. It's about resilience, reinvention, and the courage to keep going when the world moves on. His films continue to inspire, entertain, and move audiences, and his influence can be seen in the work of countless actors and filmmakers who followed in his footsteps. From iconic roles to epic flops, his story is a reminder. Even legends face the highs and lows of Tinseltown. Hollywood is a place of constant change, where today's hero can become tomorrow's has-been. But for those who truly love the craft, who are willing to adapt and evolve, there's always a way back. Costner's journey is proof that even when the spotlight fades, the work endures. If you enjoyed this dive into Hollywood's highs and lows, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insider stories. And remember, every legend has a story worth telling. Sometimes, the most interesting chapters come after the world stops watching.